Good afternoon. My name is Brian Makris. I'm President and CEO of Home Choice Lending, and today we've got a couple of guests on Grit Matters. We got Brandon Lawler, who's with TrueView. We're going to learn about him, and we're going to learn about his company, and the million-dollar question that we have out there: should we take money out of 401ks or IRAs to buy a home in today's market? And then we also have Anthony Scanio. Right? Did I say that right?
That's
Scanio.
correct.
All right, Scanio.
Yeah.
And he's here with us. He's with Coldwell Banker. He's an award-winning real estate agent. He's going to talk to you a little bit about the market, some market stats. He's got a little what happened last year in January, and then what it's going to look like this year. So I'm going to jump right into it. First of all, thanks for coming. So Brandon, let's start with you. Tell me a little bit about who you are, where you grew up, and how you got to be in this business. I know that you're a veteran, so thank you for your service.
Yeah, absolutely.
Thank you.
Thanks for having me. Thanks for that. I grew up right down the road, Milford, New Hampshire.
Nice.
Came into the
Cute town, by the way. Nice little cute town.
Yeah. I came back to it, so it's got to be halfway decent.
Yeah. Definitely. It is legit.
We love it there. But grew up in Milford. Went off to college at Syracuse University. Like you said, served in the Army. I was an officer in the Army. And then spent a couple years in the automobile finance industry after the Army.
Okay.
Entered the financial planning industry in 2016.
Got it.
And started with a big name firm, well-known firm in the area. Did really well. And then at some point, which I think we'll dig into here in a minute, kind of came to a point where I said, we might need to make a change to help some more people.
Okay, I love it.
Yeah.
I love it. So, just to talk, I know a little bit about it. There's a fair amount of exams, major exams in your industry.
Yes.
Is a Series 6, is that part of it? A Series 7, or things like that part of that? How'd you do on them? Because I know I took them a long time ago when I started with Liberty Mutual back in the day, and those were some of the toughest exams I've ever taken in my entire. I had a 6, 63, 7. My life and annuity, and also my property and casualty license as well. And I kid you not, I don't even know how I passed them. If I had to pass it today, I don't think I could. I really don't. So that's tough licensing out there, right?
Very tough. Yeah. I hold my 7 and my 66.
You do.
Which essentially enables me to do almost everything as far as financial planning goes for clients.
I love it.
Man, I think you brought back some nightmares there.
I didn't mean to. I mean, it's just one of those things. I get it. It's tough. It's a tough license.
Yeah, I was really fortunate. I was able to study full time for both my licenses. That helped. That was
got
big.
it.
Yeah.
Got it. So you got like a 95, and I think I had to score an 85 or higher. I might have got an 86.
I did well.
All right. So let's jump over here for a second. I want to go back here, and I want to talk a little bit about Anthony here. So Anthony, tell me a little bit about you. So you're in real estate. You're working with a huge firm, Coldwell Banker. They're known across the country. And how did you become a real estate agent? And that also has a tough exam. I know people that have failed at things 6, 7 times. So tell me a little bit about you and where you grew up and where you're from.
Absolutely. Yeah. No. I grew up in Burlington, Massachusetts. Moved to New Hampshire when I met my now wife, Megan. I got into real estate about 4 years ago. Prior to that, I had worked as a paramedic, mainly in the North Shore regions of Massachusetts and into southern and then the seacoast of New Hampshire. I got into real estate 4 years ago because I wanted to change. I wanted to help people, and I just really enjoyed the home buying process when my wife and I bought our first home in 2016, which I can definitely say it was a different market then than it is now.
Yeah, no, definitely.
But yeah.
Which market do you like better?
Well, the current market is pretty good. The current market is pretty good as far as if you're a busy agent and stuff like that. But I would say I would say that in 2016, I benefited from the market being what it was in 2016 than it was now. And in another segment, I can go over why buying real estate is a very good investment for everybody, and you shouldn't wait.
I love it, and I'm a believer in it as well. So Brandon, I want to jump back to you here. You're a financial coach. So tell me a little bit about your view and what do you do and what's going to be a customer for you? At the end of the day, people are like, I don't make very much money. I mean, should I be calling you? Or, hey, I just left my job and I have a 401k that's at that job, and should I call you on that? Tell me really what you do, because financial planner is a wide spectrum of things. So how do you help people, and what's your sweet spot?
Yeah, no, that's a great question. Like I said, I came into the industry in 2016, and it was kind of the same old game where I was trying to grow my practice. I was trying to get my business off the ground. I wanted to help as many people as I could. But in order to make all those things happen all at once, it was kind of like, hey, go out there, find somebody in their late 50s, early 60s, nearing retirement, maybe just entered retirement. And I would help them bring assets over, get them organized, make sure that they get the proper asset allocation. They're not taking too much risk, too little risk, fees are in line, all this stuff, which is super helpful, really good for people, and it's great work that a lot of people need. What I found over the last couple of years when I had a major epiphany, was that I was seeing more and more people come to me that were in the situation that they were in, whether it was good or bad or in between.
Okay.
And there's very little I could do to change that for them.
So they got into the game too late.
Got into the game too late, maybe sort of fell in line with the traditional type of financial planning or retirement savings over the years. They really did what they were taught and told. So
do you really, so financial planners out there, do you really break into what they're spending their money on? Because I just posted something, here's 50 ways to save money. Okay, and I'm shocked at some of the things. There are people that have been married for 6 years and they're still paying their monthly Tinder account. Okay, because they forgot to cancel it, or it's on auto renew and they don't notice it, or they're at Planet Fitness and they're paying $9 a month and they haven't been to the gym in years. And I'm guilty of that, by the way, because I keep thinking I'm going to go back, and I know it's a pain in the butt the day I decide to actually get back into shape and start grinding again in the gym. But I'm still paying my $10. So are you really? Are you digging in and kind of giving these people a plan? Are you helping them go from A to B and say, hey, if you keep at this pace, you're going to end up with $2.6 million, provided you don't go out and buy a giant yacht, or you don't, lose your job. And if you continue on this pace, you'll have that. Are you really breaking into stuff like that? Is that how you work?
Yeah, I'd say that and then some.
And I dragged you down that road hoping that was the answer. I've never really sat down. I've kind of just, wing it a little bit. And I'm finding myself now saying I wish I didn't wing it.
Yeah. We see a lot of that. So traditional financial planning would say that, take this certain amount of money, get this certain rate of return over this certain amount of time, and you're going to reach some sort of a goal.
Okay.
That's good and fine, but that doesn't actually teach people or educate them or show them that path. That's a simple mathematical equation that, we learned in probably elementary school. Okay. That kind of planning, in my opinion, that's junk.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So every client I sit with now, it's a discovery meeting, just listening, asking really, open-ended questions, finding out what's important to them. What are their goals? What is their family like? What is their work life like? Are they going to continue on this career? All these really important things. And then the next step is to gather some pretty deep financial information, because I just got to know them as a person, but now I need to get them to know them financially, right?
Right.
And I'll typically gather that ahead of time so that the next time we get together, I've got a full balance sheet built out for them, and we're going through their balance sheet and talking about, hey, here's your personal economy. This is reality. This is your life right now. Before we ever even get into any conversations of product, or we can grow your investments at this rate, or real estate's a good idea, or mutual fund, none of that. It's all about them first, then their finances first, and then we go from there.
Got it. So when we talk, and you talk about early years up here, and you talk about the dilemma and the sacrifice, that is truly one of the things, because we're out there, we're talking to agents, we're talking to real estate agents, we're talking to customers. One of the toughest things out there when you're in this business is you have to find money, okay? And that's the reason why, I talk to customers all the time, and I talk about my failures as much as I talk about my successes. And we talked a little bit about this off camera,
yeah.
but I want anyone that does business with me to realize I'm going to be as truthful and honest as I possibly can to help coach them to not fall into the same challenges that I fell into. I sold a lake house I never should have sold. I should have it. It'd be doubled in value of what it is. I should have just bought another lake house and kept the one and made it an investment property. The toughest thing sometimes is coming up with money. All right, down payments. Now there's 100% financing programs. You're a veteran. You actually can do 100% financing. The best program out there is a VA program. 0 down, 0 mortgage insurance. Truly, absolutely incredible program. But not everybody has that 3% down, that 5% down, which are a lot of the programs today are 3.5% down. There is 100% out there, not just for veterans, but do you help someone get on track to buy a house? And how does that help Anthony and I, who are big believers in real estate, have been doing this for 20 years? We've got to come up with cash. Cash, we need money.
Yep.
We need money down payments. So, I talked to you off camera a little bit, and I'm going to jump ahead here for a second, but we talk about using 401ks to buy houses.
Yeah.
Using IRAs to buy houses. And for Anthony and I, we're like, hey, can they come up with 5% down? Can they come up with 3% down? Can they come up with an appraisal shortage? Do you advise a customer if they've got $22,000 in their 401k and you've looked at their scenario, is buying a piece of real estate where they're renting, is that something that you feel long term is usually better for them versus not?
All right,
it's a loaded question.
Let's stay compliant here.
Yeah.
Yeah, I actually did this recently. I would say less than 2 years ago. Really, honestly, family, not blood related, but just did this. So many financial planners, advisors, whatever they want to call themselves, will be so fast to say, oh no,
right.
Do not touch that money. That money's for your retirement. That's there for 30 years from now, whatever the case may be, without even considering
the rest of the picture,
the rest of their personal economy and how their cash flow works. Just because it says retirement account on the piece of paper, does that mean that it necessarily has to be used 30 years from now in retirement? Absolutely not. What's the better tax advantage, right? What does the rest of the picture look like? What other investments do you own? And like you just brought up, what could that real estate do for you in the future, right? Right. And could that even become part of your portfolio at some point? Right.
They could move on and buy another and make that an investment property, which is the reason why I wish I never sold my lake house.
Yeah. So not to mention, there's you can use up to 10% of a 401k for a first-time home buyer without any penalty.
I love it.
Even under the age of retirement. So there's some avenues there to even work around some of those penalties.
They can take a loan against it, pay themselves back. So you're right. I'd say the majority are saying don't touch it. But if that's the opportunity that gets them into that next level of ownership of a home, instead of paying rent, they can own. I'm a huge believer in it. So I'm glad to hear that we're on that same page. And sometimes you don't know the direction you're going on it. I want to talk a little bit about the market here for a second. Okay. So Anthony, first of all, you're an award-winning agent. I know you laugh about it and you shrug it off and it's not that big a deal, but seriously, you've sold a ton of real estate. You got recognized at your firm recently that you're top 7% in the country. And just for an idea, how many agents with your company?
Coldwell Banker, I think across the United States has about 96,000 agents.
100,000, yeah.
Just under 100,000.
Yeah, I'm going to round up on that.
Yeah, it's 100,000.
Yeah, 100,000 agents. So that's pretty incredible. And you've done that because you'd mentioned earlier that you were a paramedic and now you've shifted into real estate because you're helping people buy houses. You own a home. You actually were able to purchase your own home. You got married, and it does create some stability. And to quickly go from zero to where you are is a lot of hard work. And then probably customers are saying, hey, call Anthony. We trust him. He negotiated. He got our offer accepted in today's market. So let's talk a little bit about today's market now. We know it's tough. We know that the inventory's low. And you sent over just a couple of stats earlier, and we were talking about it off camera. But you said right now in the Hillsborough County, you said the median sales price is about 442,000.
Yep. In Hillsborough County, that is correct. Yeah. It's,
And for median out there, that means that 50% of the homes are less than 442 and 50% are above it. So that's kind of that sweet spot. It's different than the average. But that's up substantially. It's up 14% from last year.
Last year. Yeah, homes in 2020 and 2021 on average appreciated somewhere between 15 and 20% each year. 2022, the stats that I've been reading are saying homes will probably appreciate somewhere between 6 and 8% by the end of this year. So while it's not as big of a jump as it was in 2020 and 2021, homes price and value are still trending in the upward direction.
Which is amazing.
So everybody that was saying, oh, I'm going to wait for this bubble or I'm going to wait for the market to shift, it's not looking like it's happening anytime soon. So, yeah.
Well, I think for New Hampshire, where so many, this is my personal opinion, okay? I have worked with so many CFOs, executive management teams that are moving out of Manhattan, moving out of Pennsylvania, moving out of Philadelphia, out of these big cities, and they're going to tax-free. Florida has seen a surge. New Hampshire has seen a massive surge. I have a customer that came here from New York City. He says, hey, listen, my apartment rent is $15,000 a month. I'm buying $1 million house on 4 acres and it's $5,000 a month.
Yeah.
I'm saving 10 G's. I'm working remotely and I no longer have New York City tax or New York State tax. He's saving a ton of cash and he still has that New York wage. So people are moving to New Hampshire. It's not like when somebody in New Hampshire moves from one town to the next town, they give us a property and then they take away a property. Here, they're selling a property or they're moving out of a city, which isn't affecting our local market, and they're here just taking one of our properties. So I agree. I think certain pockets could really hurt in the future. I think our pocket is still pretty stable. It's a income tax-free state, which is very rare out there, and no sales tax.
Yep.
It's massive.
Definitely a lot of pros, that's for sure.
Yeah, so when we talk about closed units here, down, 16%, and that was from last year to this year in January. Tell me, why is that? Why is the median price up and the closed units down? Tell me about that. What's your thought on that?
Less homes for sale.
Less inventory.
Yeah. The inventory is down 16% from last year. So, if you thought you were going to have a harder time finding a home last year, it's only going to get harder. Just the inventory right now is just low.
Got it. So if you're thinking about listing, this would be an incredible time to call you.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Because there's no inventory, and that's what's driving the price up. It's the old supply and demand, which you took in school and you took in school.
Absolutely.
Days on market, let's talk about that. This stuff is also, when it's there, it's disappearing. Goes back to, this is a good time to list.
Absolutely.
So days on market is 19 days.
Yep, 19 days. On average, again, for Hillsborough County, there are certain communities where it's much less than that. So, if you're in a different county or you want to know something specific about the town that you live in Massachusetts or in New Hampshire, give me a call, send me an email. I'm happy to provide you with the data.
I saw the spreadsheets when we were talking off camera. I mean, you broke it down to town. You can break it down to county. You can break it down to pretty much single families or condos or multifamilies. So you can really kind of drive down and find out what's happening in that market, in that price range for that type of property. And if it's a multifamily, maybe its days on market is 30 days, or maybe it's 19 days, or maybe there's more inventory or less inventory. And that helps you with your pricing strategy to make sure you price it right to get it out there with the right value.
Oh, absolutely, 100%. Even in this super seller's market, as we like to call it, pricing your home right from the get-go is still needed. You don't want to play let's list it 20% higher and see where it goes. You never want to be in a position where you have to reduce the price just because then you're kind of coming from a point of weakness at that point. So, listen to your agent, come up with the plan, but at the end of the day, you, the seller, have the final say. So, I always tell everybody that you have the final say. I'll just give you the data and the information, and As you wish.
As you wish,
As
yeah.
you
I'll
wish.
give you my expert opinion. I'll tell you what the numbers say,
Yeah.
but at the end of the day, you know, if you want to put your $600,000 house on the market for $1 million, it's going to probably sit for.
Probably going to sit longer than 19 days.
But if they have a lot of time, being 20 years or 15 years,
Yeah.
because real estate doubles every 15, 16, 17 years, depending on the market, eventually that $600,000 house will go to 1.2 million.
1.2, yeah.
They will find the market, they just need time.
They just need time. Yeah, absolutely.
So that's a very long listing agreement. So when you're out there and you're searching for real estate, or we're searching for buyers, or you're looking for people, let's go back to, I want to talk a little bit about, you talk about, creating a generation of financial freedom for people. All right. I know that you have a little bit of, you shifted from one company to the other. Maybe it didn't give you the flexibility, or maybe they were targeting just a certain demographic, and you feel like this is a better setup. So tell me a little bit about your company.
Yeah, TrueView Financial. We're based out of Middleton, Massachusetts. Growing agency. I was lucky enough when I started to have like my epiphany, as I'm calling it, to stumble across my new business partner. He founded the agency in 2015, and he has made it very clear that there's a place in our market to help young professionals and teach them, educate them about money and how money really works.
Compound interest.
Compound interest, I think it's massive.
So we talked about off camera the rule of 72.
Yes.
So time is one of the most valuable assets that somebody has when they're young.
Yes.
Okay. And I'm guessing you have some incredible spreadsheets that show that, hey, if we start at 20 or 22 when you come out of college and you start this, that the value of that is night and day on the catch-up game if you start at 50 and you're trying to accomplish that same nest egg. Is that safe to say?
That's massive.
Yeah.
I think, on top of that, and usually it's where I get out my pen and paper and start drawing all sorts of doodles, is just teaching people that, lost opportunity cost is detrimental to growing wealth. Winning the tax game, right? Understanding velocity of money and getting money to work in 1, 2, 3, 4, as many ways as you can, so that every dollar, instead of just throwing it in a locked tank and say, hey, we're going to touch this in 30 years,
Right.
you make that dollar grow for you now, but it's also leverageable. You can use it now. It's liquid if you need it now, so that when opportunities arise, which could be, hey, real estate,
Buying a house.
you're able to jump on that opportunity versus saying, well, shoot, I've got, some wealth growing, but I'm kind of stuck.
Right.
Right.
And I'm a huge believer, as mentioned earlier, in real estate, in being able to have that to say, hey, buying a piece of real estate that could be an income property could also help, A, with tax write-offs, B, now you're literally making money while you sleep. You have somebody paying you rent to live there, and then you can take some of that and also reinvest back into growth and long-term growth. So investment properties, that brings up something. Anthony.
A lot of cash flow positive, that's for sure.
Yeah, I think everybody knows, and it's not a rhetorical question, but rents are rising, right?
Absolutely, yeah.
And investment properties, are rents strong enough to still support the price of homes today?
Yeah, I have several clients that I'm helping trying to find rentals, and what rentals were going for 3 or 4 years ago are up $300, $400, $500, even more in some areas. I have a family member that lives down in Florida, and he was paying $2,100 a month. And in this past December, his landlord said your rent's going up to $3,200 because that's just what's commanding, and it's insane. Every market's a little bit different, but yeah, it's rents are high. A 2-bedroom garden condo is probably going to run you $1,500-$1,600 a month, give or take, depending upon location and where. Whereas 4 or 5 years ago, maybe it was $900 or $1,000.
So if we're looking at investment properties out there, we're talking to Brandon, we're grabbing some of that money to reinvest. And in my opinion, it's diversifying your portfolio a little bit. Now you have a little bit of real estate in there. you can find a good property out there. Do you see any? If there's anybody out there that's thinking about buying an investment property, they can call you?
Yeah, no, absolutely. If you're thinking about, buying, selling, or investing, I'm happy to help any way that I can. But yeah, it all depends on this. If you're looking for an investment property, depends on where you want, what you're looking for. Are you trying to do a 4-family, 3-family, a duplex? If you're talking 5-family and up, then that's more commercial. But I could still help you with that and put you in touch with the right people. It just really depends on what your overall goals are. And like I said, if I can help any way that I can, then that's, what I'm happy to do.
All right, so I want to just touch on one quick thing for both of you. Now, licensing in other states. Do you have counterparts? Can you, Brandon, work with somebody that's in Massachusetts? Is there state lines with what you do? And then the same question's coming over to you for a second. Do you have partners that you work with that you can refer that have your systems, your tools, your technology that they can take advantage? We'll go with you first, Brandon. Can you cross the state lines? Is there individual licensing for Massachusetts and for Maine if somebody grabs this and says, hey, you know what, I don't own a house, I'm 22, I'm just out of college, and I do want to plan for my future. I want to take the steps today.
Yeah, absolutely. I want to say off the top of my head, I'm probably licensed in 17 states already.
Wow. Okay.
If somebody is in New Mexico, I don't have anyone in New Mexico right now.
Okay.
It's a matter of days, and we can get licensed. So
wow.
Really all it takes is we can open up conversations, really find out what's important to them, and in that time that we're doing that, the licensing will come through before any recommendations are made.
Wow. Okay. Excellent. Wow. So you do have to be licensed in each state.
That's right.
Yeah. I didn't know where that was going to go. Yeah. So interesting. And then Anthony, what do we got on your side?
Yeah. So, as I've already said, I am licensed in Massachusetts and New Hampshire. Coldwell Banker is a big company that is across the nation. So if you're thinking on relocating out of state, Florida, South Carolina, California, anywhere in pretty much the United States, North America. We even have offices out in Europe. So, I can always put you in touch with another Coldwell Banker agent. That's kind of the benefit of being part of such a big company, is that, we have so many resources, and all Coldwell Banker agents have the same resources and tools that I do and use to help my clients with their buying and selling needs. So I can definitely put you in touch.
100,000 agents. So we need to find somebody with your quality and your expertise, and somebody that's in that top 7%.
Top 7.
Absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely.
Absolutely, 100%.
So you can vet them and say, hey, this is the partner I think you should use.
Absolutely.
Well, yeah. Awesome. Well, we're going to definitely have you guys back, because I want to dig more and more into the financial side of things, because I think that's a very valuable piece. And the real estate piece, if you guys out there, if you're thinking about listing your house, we just looked at the stats. There is no inventory. Call Anthony. If you're thinking about buying a second home or an investment property, call him. If you're thinking about getting your life in order and you want to start early, or you missed the 20 years because you did all the things that I did and now you're playing catch up, it happens and it's okay, and you got plans for those people as well, right, Brandon?
That's right. Yeah,
all right. Well, I appreciate you guys both coming in today. Thanks for being part of what we do. Thanks for helping people out there, and I really appreciate what you guys do.
Awesome. Thanks, Brian.
Thank you, Brian. Thank you for having us. Yeah, good to see you, Brandon.
Appreciate it, guys.